Tell us the story of your P-38.
Well, first, let me just say, on day 3 of Oshkosh 2024, I am so honored to be wearing my Uncle Jim's hat. Well, it's my hat now. And be pilot in command of his, and it's mine now too, and his dream of his 2/3 scale P-38 Lighting. And to have here in my hand the letter from Tom Poberezny from 2009, where he invited him to be, and I quote, "I'm sending an invitation for you to visit EAA Airventure Oshkosh. We should like to make the P-38 a centerpiece of our display on Aeroshell Square. You represent the epitome of an EAA-er, creativity, innovation, can-do spirit, and realizing a dream." And what a beautiful dream.
Let's face it, we've talked to some folks who've done some extraordinary things. It starts over a beer, it starts during a hangar talk. Where did this start? How did it happen?
So how this started, I believe, is at least from age 14, he was dreaming about P-38s. He grew up in the shadow and the glory of World War II and that can-do attitude of American willpower. And the P-38 was so beautiful. He dreamed about him his whole life, and he didn't think he could be a pilot when he joined the Air Force. He became an aeronautical engineer, but he couldn't be a pilot because of he's colorblind. You know, we all know that if you're colorblind, you can be a pilot. But he didn't know that until he was in his 60s, and he had been doing calculations on aeronautical issues as a professor of aeronautical engineering, as a NASA rocket scientist, as so many things. But he had never learned to fly, and he set about to learn to fly in his 60s. He's got his instrument rating, he got his first plane, a Navion, and then later a Myers 200. And all the time he was working on building his P-38, his childhood dream, and he started in earnest in his retirement from Tulane, where he was tenured as a professor of aeronautical engineering. He figured it would take him about 25 years, and if he was lucky, he'd get to fly it. And they got to fly it. Altogether, he had about 110 hours in the plane, which in a plane like that, that's a lot of flying. He put TSIO 360 RBs on there. They were originally rotating inboard, but he decided that Lockheed was right. It should go the other way, and that's what he did. And that was the last thing he was working on, along with the nose gear assembly. He ran out of time on that project. He got to fly it, but he ran out of time on that, and my good friend Steve Michael and the Volar team, we finished that next step. And, you know, to be able to take somebody's, you know, something that was so dear to them and make it so dear to us, and the work and the detail that goes into that. We did a tremendous amount of restorations, from engines, I mean, you name it, we went through everything. I have no idea how I got it from San Angelo to Lebanon, Mike 54, where we are, but I did somehow, with a whiskey compass and an iPhone, and acting like a drunken sailor navigating. It was pretty tough, but anyway, we got it there, and then it went down for about a year, actually. To get it here today, it's just beyond words.
So what kind of performance, what kind of handling?
So I really kept it on the inner side of the envelope on this. So I took off at about 34 inches of manifold pressure, you know, climb at maybe 600 feet a minute. I do believe the single engine performance, I mean, if you look where the center line of thrust, you would assume is going to be pretty far outboard on those wings. So both of them are critical engines. So, you know, really want to be careful on that and mindful. I don't want to put Uncle Jim's dream down in a field somewhere. So I kept it well inside the envelope. You know, at cruise, I pulled back to about 29 inches of manifold pressure and about 2,300 RPM. On the flights, when we had the gear door mechanism working, I think we're about 140, 145 true with the nose gear door off. You know, like all home builts, they're always a work in progress, aren't they? You know, and it's all about, you know, you don't quit and don't die until your dream has a chance to fly. And I don't know what comes next, but it'll be an exciting chapter. This isn't my story. It's our story in aviation in so many ways, and thank you.
A persevering legacy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's a legacy.
Jason Talley. First and foremost, I'm a pilot. Love flying. Also, I'm the chairman and CEO of Baker's Burgers, a fast food restaurant business based in Southern California. I've used GoGo for a number of years. Probably the last 4 or 5 years I had a GoGo system in my aircraft. And GoGo represents the unique kind of trifecta of reputation, service quality, and price point. It just makes sense for me.